Howdy, y'all. Welcome to episode 53 of Unfinished Business. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. It is 1/1/25 as we're recording this. You would know that if you were here live. We are live on YouTube as we record these, but thank you for listening after the fact if you are. We are going to go over basically any news in disc golf. We've got some new player sponsorship announcements, mostly people leaving, less people signing, but we're all just going to go around the horn, talk about disc golf in our lives as well as the professional game. We'll start out with just taking a minute. I'll take my first minute. I did our challenge last week. It was a ton of fun, the Evens challenge. Filmed a video that'll come out next Monday. I'm going to say it's the best video I've made, which is very biased, but it's my favorite video that I've made. So I'm excited for everybody to see that one. And to close out of my minute, I do have some news to announce. Shout out to Corey for hooking me up. 3 of us on the podcast are going to be teammates this year.
Wow.
Feels bad for Tyler, but shout out to Finish Line. We'll be representing them for 2025. Super excited to get some new discs and try those out.
You're going to rock with the sector, I think, low-key. We'll see, though.
Yeah, that was the whole motivation behind it. I just want to throw one of those really bad.
Yep, they're super sick, so
glad. Well, congrats, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Who wants to go next? Corey, speak to us.
Hello, everyone. Because of the holiday, I got too many frisbees that I don't need. There's a whole stack right behind me of various colors and shapes and sizes. I've got some over there. I've got this that I still haven't opened because I think I'm supposed to get another package from the holiday disc swap, but I have to wait until the end of the week to figure out if I'm missing something or if I just read the email wrong. But yeah, it's really cold in Michigan right now, like really cold. Me and Mac went out yesterday and played, and it wasn't fun. It was fun, but it wasn't fun.
This is gonna sound like I'm being rude, and I'm generally not. I have been so surprised how nice it's been here this week specifically. Like it has been 75 to 80 like every day this week is wild.
I mean, it was 65 2 days ago here, and then yesterday it was like high 58. So
yeah,
that's warm for us.
It has been like 50s here, so it's been really, really nice. But
40s, maybe 50s is like pretty normal. But it's been like in the 20s.
Like when I did our challenge, I was in shorts and a t-shirt and sweating. Like
that's so cool of you.
That's so cool, man.
That's so cool of you for
really
you to
cool.
Notice.
Hey, just wait for about 5 months from now when we're starting to go into summertime. And
I'll hate my life. Yeah.
I also want to announce that I am not representing Grip Bags.
Contract dried up
I wasn't to begin with, but I'm not still. So I just want to let you know.
Thank you.
Oh, that's sad to hear.
Really sad.
What about you, Matt? What about you?
Crazy. I am still representing Finish Line Discs. And
now.
I think I signed a contract of some kind 2 days ago, so I think I am through 2025.
Hey, at will employment state, baby.
That's it. I got an official offer to coach a disc golf team, so we'll see if I do that. But
that's sick.
That's kind of cool. Get a little stipend with it, so I can use it and run some tournaments and stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes. So other than that, I also got a lot of discs through the holiday. But I had nice days, so I managed to film a couple holes of my course I'm working on and actually play them first time. So it was cool to see visions come to life, but we'll continue work with that. That's it for me, Tyler. Your minute. That is not going to be a minute.
So I've already prepped our group that I have a very, very long segment I'm going to talk about. I had a
PowerPoint presentation.
I had the most epic back-to-back days of disc golf in a very, very, very long time. Okay, so on today is Wednesday, so Monday, right? Monday, I got together with 2 of my like really good buddies. We haven't played in a while. We went out and played the shorts course that I played really well at recently, and I had a really good time. And then we played 9 more holes where we did a little bit of bag swapping, and then the last 3 holes we did. The other 2 guys would choose the disc we had to use for the shot. So it was like a sabotage thing. So coming down the stretch, I was kind of in the trees a little bit on like a short par 4. and they were trying to decide what to pick out of my bag, and they decided to choose a pipeline. So joke's on them. But the thing is, I had a forehand, but I was behind a tree, right? I had a leaner, like forehand shot, or I had to throw like this high sky Anheuser to throw into like this basket's guarded all under behind trees. What's so funny?
Scott just said minutes up.
Scott said minutes up.
Yeah, I know, Scott. I told you it's gonna be a long one. Thanks, man. So, anyways, I was behind by a shot to both the guys, and I threw this sky flick pipeline, went up in the air, came crashing down, and just went straight basket, no chains into the basket. Turned around, double birds to both of them because it was sabotage. So it was like, they chose the disc that they thought. And I ended up winning against those guys. So like that throw in was probably like 200 feet, but with a disc that I've never forehanded on like what I was trying to do with it. Anyways, it was so sick. And so that was super cool. And like, even they were like super hype. So, all right, the next day, yesterday, the winds were like 15 to 25 miles an hour, but the gusts were like 50 miles an hour. Like it would gust out of nowhere, like really, really hard. Taylor, can you put up the scorecard?
Yes, I was literally. You started talking. I was like, "Oh, I bet he's about to talk about this." So I was clicking buttons to try to hit this already. No, you're totally good.
All right, so let me show the scorecard. It was me, one of the other guys I played with on Monday, and then another guy, and I'm gonna call him Robert. Just for the sake of not using his
name is going to be on the scorecard.
Not literally, I don't think. It could be. Is it?
We'll see when it comes up.
I think it's his nickname.
It just says literally Robert.
Literally Robert.
It says first and last name with Social Security.
Because I have to show you the scorecard to explain the situation, and then I can show footage. And the footage is what's going to make it so great. Okay, so yeah. All right. So Ronaldo. Perfect. So look at my scorecard, right? It was like double par, and then bogey, double. All my double bogeys are 3 putts within circle one, because it felt like I was going into a headwind every single putt, and I would soar the basket like 25 feet, and then there was no chance of making it coming back, or whatever the case may be. So anyways, going into 18, just look at 18. All right. The guy got a 7. All right. So let me tell you the situation on 18. I'm down by 3. The other guy is down by 4, Kyle. And so we're playing the longs at this course that we never play. And this hole is, you got to throw uphill. There's like a mound in front of you. There's water, and then it gets to land again. It's 400 feet long, as it says. So me and Kyle, since we had the honors before Ron, we all threw safely. We're in bounds. Ron clips the mound with a forehand shot, and it skips into the water. And so now we're like, Kyle and we grip arms behind Ron, like, oh my gosh, is there a window to come back? But we're joking, right? We're like, all right, you go up, you throw, you go up, because I'm down 3. There's no way, right? So he has like this downhill shot, and all he has to do is throw it over the water, throw an up shot, put it in the basket. And the best thing I can do is par the hole, and I would tie him at that point, right? But the wind is whipping like crazy. So anyways, his next shot, or maybe not even tie, I think I still lose. His next shot, because I said, Ron, if you up and down that from there, that'd be the greatest up and down I've ever seen. And I wasn't trying to play mind games. He then tries to get an up and down. Because he's angled down from the downhill slope of the mound, he throws it in the water again. And at that point, me and Kyle are like, oh my gosh, like I'm sweating now because I'm starting to do all the numbers in my head. I'm like, I actually have a chance to either win or tie. So anyways, I have an upshot. I backhand it. It's under the basket, but because of the wind, it skips like 25 feet. So I've got a 25-foot putt for par. And then he ends up getting over the water, getting up underneath the basket. And so if he makes his putt and I make my putt, I win by 1. And so I sent you guys the clip. I didn't send it to us, but like I missed my putt to win. And so then I tap in and we're tied. So all of a sudden I thought I had no chance of winning. It was a very casual round, but me and Ronaldo has history. This is the guy that beat me at This is the guy that beat me at Iron Hill last year in January in our blood match, where on 17 my disc went 90 degrees left because it was wet, and he clapped in my background because he was happy it happened, and then beat me by 1. So there is some history here. So at this point, we're like, all right, we're gonna go play 1 longs, which is 400 feet, OB all left, and then if we tie after 1, we'll play hole 1 again, and we'll play the shorts, and if we're tied after that, we'll just call it a tie. So Taylor, can you play the footage?
I can. Do you need audio for this? By the
Does the audio work or no?
I can make it work, but I will have to do something real quick.
Okay,
the 2 seconds.
Make it sound so much better for the ending. Okay.
That's playing.
Okay, so there's me. I throw a super safe shot to the right.
The wind is insane.
Yeah. I throw a super safe. He can't decide if he wants to throw something really stable or not, and if he wants to throw inside me to the left. Because here's the thing: if he doesn't make it in bounds, like, it's pretty much over because you have to re-tee on the short basket.
It's a really pretty course, by the way.
He throws, it's the best course.
Wow.
So he throws it inbounds, and he's got a little upshot that's like a jump putt. I actually have, I'm throwing the warp here, by the way.
Oh,
so I've got the warp on a forehand. Now wind is coming left to right. I'll shut up at the very end. So I throw this, and I get just the wind caught it really hard right before I got to the actual basket. So I've got 25 feet. All right. And he's got this like little like jump putt, and he's underneath the basket. Sorry for the F word here. So, all right. So now I've got this into a ripping headwind. That flag does not do it justice. I'm putting with my DL breaker right here that I don't putt with. I have to make this putt because he's under the basket, right? So I'm thinking, well, I got to freaking jar this thing.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Ice.
Right here.
Boom. Ice in the
Right
veins,
here.
dude.
Oh man.
And then at this point, I said, I'm not losing the next playoff hole. There's no way I lose.
Tiebreak 2.0.
So here's the next playoff hole. This is from behind the basket, and this is the other guy going first. He's throwing a cap raptor forehand shot. This is probably like a 270-foot shot here. This just shows you like how hard the wind was whipping. Look how short he comes.
That's insane.
Yeah. And he probably threw regular power. I put every bit of butt cheek into this one. Honestly, same disc that he just threw. And I sail it a little bit far and to the right. I thought I was going to be parked, and then the wind caught it. All right. So he gets to go first.
You ever try throwing it better?
I try, but it's hard. You know, disc golf is a little difficult. So he told me he wasn't trying to run it; he was trying to lay it up, and then almost made it. All right, I'll shut up from this point on. I'll let the audio speak for itself.
Oh! 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 Wow! And the handshake.
You got to hear the ending.
Oh, sportsman.
You got to hear the ending.
Wow!
I tried to lay it up.
World star. World star.
I tried to lay it up.
It was the classic Nico situation.
Yeah. So I was trying to lay that up. That's why I went so quickly. And I just thought, like, if I threw it at the ground barely, by the time it gets to the basket, it would just lay down. But it just kept staying on that same line. Chains. So I had a throw in the day before to beat a couple of my boys. And then I had that happen. Craziest ending to a disc golf round that I've been a part of, where a guy had a 3-stroke lead and went in the water twice. And then we went into extras, and I made both those putts, which were pretty difficult to make. So yeah. What's actually really even more, a little bit more funny is that we're all in a fantasy football league, and that guy made some diabolical trades to win our league too. So everyone in our disc golf group was texting me after. We're like, bro, we could not have asked for anything better from you giving that guy an L heading into 2025 because he smoked everyone and he talks so much. So anyways, yeah,
that's all the time we got for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.
Whatever, 53. Real quick tidbit. Speaking of fantasy football, fun fact for you, fun stat. I have won a league every year since I turned 30. Shout out.
Let's go. Nice.
But yeah, that was honestly, I told Tyler before we started, I had opened the clip and didn't finish it because I wanted to react with everybody else. And I was like, that wind is insane. Like, I know for me that mainly plays in the woods, like I feel like my body would not function anymore, especially putting, like trying to play in that sort of wind.
Yeah. I had multiple shots that just did crazy things that I was not expecting to happen. But some people were texting us and were like, dude, why are you guys going to play in that? I'm like, dude, why not? Like, why not play in it? It's fun. So
for the audio listeners, Tyler made 2 really big putts to win it overtime.
Yeah. Sorry.
I just thought to throw the recap in. There's our minutes, a few of them. We'll get into today is a great day. Maybe not the best day, but a good day for disc golf news. I know I said earlier I love the beginning of the year because it's like pro disc golf Christmas. We get all of little nuggets, little trails of where everybody's going, not full announcements. I feel like since the Gain and Burr situation, everybody's a little bit more tight-lipped about sponsorships and really keeping to like, all right, 1/1/25, or like when the year ends, like that's when the agreement's over. But I feel like a lot of our latest and greatest and disc golf moves are going to come from what we've seen today. But I'll just open to the floor. Does anybody have any hot takes, surprises, just reactions to the news we've seen so far today?
I'm very fascinated to see where Ezra Robinson goes. Isaac's going to go wherever he wants to go. Good for you. I bet his name isn't going to really sell disc unless it gets into like Innova's hands, honestly. And a lot of people be like, what do you mean? Well, I think Innova has that fan base where if they see world champion on it, people want to buy the disc maybe. But any other place, I don't think it makes much of a difference. But Ezra, on the other hand, does he follow his brother or does he form his own path? It'll be very fascinating to see.
I would be impressed if he did, or if they did, just because like in a down year, how good both of them are at disc golf, trying to get both of those contracts in line. I mean, there's definitely companies who've got it like that, but that's just a tough thing to double up on.
Also find it funny how we were talking a couple years ago of all these people, like who's going to go to Discraft, and I haven't heard a single peep about hype over people going to Discraft at this point.
TSA went to Discraft.
Yeah, that is the word I've heard for Ezra, at least from sources that I'll actually talk about that are somewhat reputable. But I was going to say exactly what Matt was going to say. I think in a COVID world where everybody like has money, like will pay players, I think that Ezra and Isaac stay together 100%. But I think right now where it's a down year, I think a lot of companies are really, really looking at, Innova specifically, are looking at what is the actual rate of return that we're getting from paying these players all this money. And you have a situation that we really don't see often where, Isaac's right now number 4 in the world, Ezra's number 11, down 2 spots at the end of the year, which is kind of criminal in my mind after the year he had. But this is the official world rankings where they still have Eagle at 9. So take that with a grain of salt. They have 2, I'll say top 10 players that, would like to sign with the same company, but also maximize their own return is very, very difficult to do with, the same manufacturer sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys read that comment from
Nico to Mellow Disc Golf?
Nope, the other one.
World of Disc Golf is about to be flipped upside down here soon. From Drew Gibson.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a crazy, I don't think it's an insane surprise just because we know stuff is getting swapped around. Even if like crazy stuff happens, it kind of has to, we can't exist in the same.
Imagine Isaac Robinson going to Finish Line Disc.
Hey.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
No, it's funny because I feel like at this point, like I've followed pro disc golf long enough to have seen multiple things that I would have never thought were possible. Starting I think with the chain of Paul leaving Innova, like in my mind at that time, it was like that was unfathomable. So I think at this point, you have Paul leaving, you have Simon leaving Discmania, you have Ricky going back and forth to whoever will pay him the most. It's like I feel like we've gotten to a point, at least where a lot of the fans are like, I mean, anything's possible. Climo left Innova. It's like we're in a world where money talks, and it's interesting the dynamic it's made from COVID, where like everybody's getting paid a ton, and now we're kind of back to nobody's really getting paid. Like how that shifted the mindset of, I think, players.
I think it's kind of weird though. Most of us know the time before. Matt, do you know like pre-COVID disc golf?
Vaguely. I was playing, but I wasn't following anything. So
okay, because like
I was playing 2018, 2019, but not much,
the paychecks weren't that big for the pros. And then this boom happened, and we keep seeing these numbers come up, and we're like, holy crap, this guy's getting this much, this person's getting this much.
Yeah.
Like Kona. Remember when Kona was making $500,000 a year, and we were like, what is going on?
Yep.
Well,
I think it was 500,000 for 4 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely 500K total, but yeah, it was a lot.
Still,
yeah,
a lot.
No, for sure.
That's the amount of time you go to high school, and you just made $500,000.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what people that started in like COVID times and only know those numbers. Well, Tyler, you're different. You're like smarter than that.
But
oh my gosh, he said it. He said it. Clip it.
I'm saying you understand like the market and like value and stuff like that. Some of these kids only know that X, Y, and Z make $1 million every single year. And now it's like, what are they going to think when they hear that Big Germ got like $50 and a pack of jerky?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point, Corey, that a lot of people don't really know that like a lot of stuff that I think about often, like of the before times, I guess, where like you have Paul Macbeth, right, at Innova, who is the, arguably best player of all time, can't get Innova to tell him how many Tour Series discs he's selling, like can't get a breakdown of that. And they're just like, you keep selling discs, and like him and Sexton are running clinics to stay out on tour. I have this thought as probably a broader thought, but I'll mention it here since that kind of goes into it. I think overall, like where we're headed right now will end up being better for the growth of the game, because we're getting back to pros being very accessible and having to run events to stay on tour, which probably isn't the best for the pros.
We're also deflating. We're deflating all of the prices that are not sustainable.
Right. Sure.
I think that's another, like, I know we talked about this in the Discord a while ago. I think Hammer brought it up that things like cornhole can be on ESPN, but we can't watch disc golf like on a major network like that. Right. And I think one thing about that is cornhole is so easy to do. Like you literally just set up boards anywhere. You can have it. Yeah. Easy to film, easy to play. And if you have one person that wants to fork over, let's say $1 million, that'll probably fund the entire like world championship of cornhole.
Right.
Us, on the other hand, we have to get property. We have to get like the means of recording live video.
Nightmare.
Yeah, like it's a bigger sport in the sense of you have to do so many little intricate things to get it to even work properly. Yeah. So it's kind of tough like that. And I think us shrinking back down is going to be not only a reality check to a lot of these pros and people that want to go like full tour and stuff, but it's going to get us back to like, okay, this is the real process. This isn't like an inflated number of money because COVID told you could do 3 things outside. You could go for a bike ride, you could go disc golf, and you can go
kayak, whatever.
Yeah, like it was like there was like 4 things that they said, like you could do this, this, or this, or I'm going to arrest you.
I got a question I was just thinking about a minute ago, and then I want to jump back to talking about.
Why is it called Around the Horn?
Player movement. Do you actually think that Simon's getting $1 million a year, or is it actually more?
Oh, more.
I would-
for sure.
Because
I would say more. I would say
Because-
I think it's a mil probably guaranteed, and then like
Yeah.
that
It's
guy
all
sells
guaranteed.
frisbees.
Paul got $1 million a year for 10 years in 2018, and things inflated big time. I think it's a pretty large number, and I think who fumbled the bag was Eagles signing a 5-year deal. I think he should have went longer.
Yeah. I
Than
will say
5
this
years.
too, speaking of just player compensation, I would not be surprised if outside of tournament winnings, Gannon is still the most paid player because his contract is so heavily based on incentives, and he won so
could be,
much.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that dude is getting paid.
I will say this: we threw the Nordic Phenom 3 on Monday. It's a good disc. It's a very good
Which
disc.
disc is that?
It's a DD3, but that's
DD3.
Nick Glass. That's not.
Yeah, okay. I was so good.
Gannon's is the.
I just thought it was weird that the Nordic Phenom changed.
Yeah, that was weird to me
molds.
too.
Like, yeah.
That was a
yeah.
weird move, but
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I
one-
wouldn't be surprised if that change was the fact that Gannon throws PDs like his life depends
try-
on it, and
Facts.
like
Doesn't
They're-
need a
they're
DD3
gonna-
to throw 700 feet. You
does
can
it-
throw a PD
yeah,
that far.
exactly. And so it's like we don't really care how good Nicholas is. Gannon is better. So if Gannon might want that down the line,
I feel like I'm just a ranting guy today, but Nicholas gets kind of slept on. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
I do think
he's-
Gannon wasn't as good as he is, but Nicholas is good.
He's very popular in Europe.
Yeah.
He might be the most popular player in Europe, honestly. I'm thinking about how the world of disc golf is about to be flipped upside down. You know what I've been seeing on Discgrass Factory? A lot of Paul Macbeth discs going on discount for like 60% right now.
Yep, I was just looking at that today actually.
He's out of
What's
there.
going on with that?
He's out of there.
Well, I don't think he's out of there or anything. I think it's just moving stock. You know what I would be interested to note?
I don't know.
What would be interesting to note is how many or how few analysis tools were used, like business analysis tools were used during COVID time versus how many have been used in the last year. You know, this is like
Yeah.
a outside, like there's no way there was, or at least it does not seem like there was any market analysis going on when signing players. Maybe there was a company or two that was doing it versus I bet you that stuff is on lock. Not as much as any other industry would have, but in like compared to the last couple of years, comparing like how much did this disc sell and other things like that. Because it's just the numbers that went out, sometimes it felt like no one, like what confirmed that this player was getting this amount. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's some that are obvious. Simon Lizotte, bro, just pay the guy whatever. MVP, we've already said MVP probably made their money back, but the other people
In the
it's
first
like-
month.
yeah, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
But anything like that is just, I don't know. I'm just curious about that. I don't know.
No,
if
I
there's any
think you're
company-
definitely right that in COVID, like I think the only company that did not like severely, I guess Discraft's probably immune to this too, but I think a lot of companies severely overspent their means and like, oh, we need machines, we got to spend all this money to get plastic. And I think the people that affects the most are like the TSAs, where we're seeing now that they're having a lot of trouble where you're not producing your plastic. Like I know Will mentioned this a lot in a lot of interviews that he recently did. Like luckily Prodigy makes the majority of their plastics on their machines, their discs
Yeah.
on their machines, to where they have a lot of control of like, if we're slow right now, just don't make any more product. Whereas if you're a TSA, you have to order that well ahead of time. I mean, players that have already signed, what I want to say is just round of applause to Discraft to being like the only company that I feel like for everyone in the disc golf world, the obvious move, Discraft does it, where a lot of times you have to question like, what's Innova doing? What's going on over here? Discraft's like, hey, AB's super popular. Let's sign him right now.
Yeah.
Lock that guy up. So just shout out to them for just having some good business sense, I feel like, because that's a little rare in the manufacturer sphere.
Honestly, I'd say it's anything in Michigan right now is just doing good. Like MVP, they know what they're doing. We're assuming they're going to be making really high-end bags for Simon and
Yeah, I'm
Eagle.
curious to see where that goes.
I have a strong feel. I mean, they already make bags
Right.
and they're good quality. But
I think he alluded to them doing something a year ago.
yeah,
I might Yeah, I feel like I remember that too, but no.
He said, because I remember when he switched over, he was like, guys, I'm still with Grip, but if something changes in the future, then I'm open to, listen to it or something like that. I remember he made
That's
some
why
comment.
I mentioned this in our Discord when it came out. Like, I feel like MVP didn't love that they were still sponsored by Grip, but we're like, we'll let you like honor that to get you sort of thing. So I think Simon's the type of guy where he doesn't want to like leave a contract or break something, to where they were like, okay, like you can finish out your contract, but we'll cook something up for you. When
Didn't he not finish with Discmania?
He got bought out.
No.
Yeah. That's different.
Where is this rumor coming about Ricky leaving Dynamic Disc?
Yeah, I did not hear this at all. Are we just saying this because you can buy Raptor?
I've seen it in a couple places.
Somebody put it in our Discord, so
I've seen it in a few areas from what I'll say are reputable people. Usually what they say about the offseason is correct. So,
Okay.
not willing to stake put my name on it, but I'll say I've seen some people say that.
Did I miss that?
I think
When was that put in the?
I think Mike put it in our Discord of like movements that were happening or things that were going on. So maybe that is what Drew's talking about, but I don't know what Ricky would be. It'd be really actually funny if Ricky was going back to.
Speaking of guys that'll leave a contract early, it's my guy.
Did Ricky?
He's good. He's gold at it.
Did Ricky play for Prodigy?
Yeah.
What if Will's whole plan is to like
dump everybody but Rick?
get the OG team. So like Jeremy.
Oh,
Rick.
I could see that.
Obviously, they're not gonna be able to get Yuli because that's
what I was gonna say. I was gonna mention that. I gotta give a shout out to Paul Ulibarri for making big boy really good business decisions years and years ago for going to disc graft, because him going to disc graft, being the captain, and then also getting the captain's Raptor, he did the Nate Sexton move of getting something that was really popular. And I don't know how the cap wrap got so popular, honestly.
People like
because then there's Jeremy Colling on the other hand, who missed out, who I think is arguably or was a better player than Paul. Now, Paul is showing his longevity of being a better player now than Germ, but
you know what I think it is with the cap wrap? One of the most popular molds back in the day with like DOS and all them was the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to shy away from names that sound kind of iffy. They got rid of the Predator. They got rid of the Stalker. They got rid of like a lot of like
I didn't think about that.
They're names that work with like Animal Kingdom kind of things, Prey, Predator, but like in the sense of like nowadays, you don't really use that for that. So they got rid of all of that. The Predator is basically the cap wrap. Yeah.
Predator.
Yeah.
That's a 9404.
Yes.
And the cap wrap is what, 9314? Yeah. So it's basically the same disc. They just modified the numbers so it's not like a clone.
Yeah. It's pretty, but like the popularity is just like popped off. Like when I see or when I play in tournaments, everyone who's throwing an overstable, like the most overstable fairway that's like can push is a cap wrap. Everyone's throwing it because it's the most reliable one, is what everyone tells me. It's like, why wouldn't you just throw a Firebird instead of a cap wrap? But everyone wants a cap wrap. I don't know. It's just they did a good job marketing. And anyways, I was thinking about that.
It's also the Yuli thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like Yuli.
I don't know.
I feel like Yuli's the classic example of willing to put in the work. Like I feel like Germ could have easily been Yuli, but I mean, no shade to Germ. He wants to like 3D print minis and do art and like have all this other stuff. Where like Yuli is a grinder. Like Yuli does lessons, does the Power Disc Golf Academy, does the podcast. Like that guy will put in the work.
And plus, how often do you hear about like a bad story with Germ? How often do you hear about
Pretty
Yuli?
forking?
You don't really hear things like that with Yuli, except for that like European.
Hey, if that guy's in Norway, watch out. But if he's in the States, he's chilling.
Yeah.
Just to wrap us up a little bit on this topic, I know we've been a little all over the place. I'll start out. I'll just ask 2 questions. Your boldest prediction of where you think a player is going, just what you something you believe in, but still is kind of a hot take. And then what surprised you the most so far today? I'll say for me so far today, Germ surprised me the most. That was definitely a guy that I could have seen staying at Innova forever, but it sounds like he has something that he believes in that he's got lined up that he wants to pursue. At least that's what it sounds like on social media. And then I'm getting really behind Ezra to Discraft. I think that Isaac is not likely to go there, and I don't think that they can go to the same place. So I think that lines up really well for Ezra at Discraft, and that makes their team terrifying going into next year.
Double Ezzies at Discraft?
Put it on a disc, man. Stamp it up.
I'll give like my winner in loser in that sense. Loser is Prodigy, because I don't even know what they're doing with having players play for them, so I have no idea what's going on. And then honestly, I would say like my winner, and I'll make a prediction on that too. I think it's going to be Innova. I think Innova has opened up a spot for somebody to come in, another big name. I think they want to sign like one big name, and then that's it. I still think they will, so I'm going to stick to it.
I agree with Tyler. I was going to say the exact same thing. I think Innova will sign one big name. I don't know what it'll be. I guess I could agree with the Prodigy thing, but also John Innova. We'll get in there. I agree with the Prodigy thing, but also if Prodigy's in a weird spot, they might have to take a year or two and just not really have pros. And I think that's fine if it's going to save your brand from, not existing.
They've done all this work to prepare this plastic. So I don't know what their business
maybe
strategy
they have
is.
on it and plastic is our thing. We're gonna get great at plastic. Maybe that's what they're gonna do.
I wonder if they're thinking like, let's get our plastic right, and then like a year from now, all the mid-tier pros that lost their sponsors won't be asking for nearly as much, and we'll just like pick and choose from.
I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah, that could be a swoop. I don't know what my other thought on this offseason so far is.
It's more like who is a fan favorite that's a mid player.
Yeah.
That's what you got to go with. Corey, what do you got?
Well, first off, I think you guys hit Prodigy on the head. I think they're going to do the whole Dan Campbell thing and really go from like the ground up.
Bite kneecaps.
Yeah, fix everything before you try and sign people that you can't, like, if they don't like the product or if they don't care for the product, they're not going to like push it. So why not wait until the product is perfect? And the stuff that I've felt so far with like the new, I believe it's going to be the new 500, is like really, really good.
Dude, it is really good. I have one.
Do you?
Yeah. This is the new 500 plastic.
No, it's a new blend of plastic that I think is going to turn into their 500. It doesn't say 500 on it.
So this was their new blend last year of 500 plastic. If they got a new, then that's wild.
That's what I was told by my buddy Alex.
I think they finally
Like
got
the
all
one
the
that
chalk
has-
out. I think they finally fixed the chalk thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, actually, they
that's
added
not-
more chalk.
Yeah, I hope
Just
they did.
Chalk it back.
It was-
up.
It was like they thought that they had like not enough oil,
Yeah.
but it was they had too much oil.
Well, here's the thing. Now it's two products. It chalks your hand up and you throw the disc.
Insane.
And
Bro,
that's
look at this thing. This thing is like gold.
Yeah, Scott Cash mentions Broad's new vid. He got a bunch of new stuff. Shout out to Broad's 30-day Prodigy Challenge. Somebody go back in the Discord when I said I want to do that, but now Broad's doing it. So
and
shout out,
that
shout out.
that does send an interesting message. I wouldn't be surprised if Prodigy moves to a more media like thoughtful
Creator focused.
Yeah, you're not signing anyone, but you send Broad like literally with 50 or 60 discs in a bag.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if that starts happening across a lot of disc golf YouTubers. I think it becomes apparent what they're trying to do, but we'll see if that happens.
And then I will say that the Innova thing didn't take me like it didn't throw me off at all. I was kind of prepared to see that many people not on the team, but it was kind of weird and refreshing to see just like a few names on that list, which was wild. We haven't seen Discrafts. I'm curious. I want to see who's there. I want to see if we see names that we thought were going to be there and they're not. Because I don't know if everyone's going to be
Brody
making those announcements that say like, hey, thanks Discraft for blah, 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 blah. I mean, the thing is, though, with Brody, even if he's still selling stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's still pushing. He's still like a big name. So like, why get rid of him if it's really not doing anything of harm for Discraft?
The only thing that I think against that is like, if I was Discraft, I would still then want him to like be making content, and that guy is not making content in disc golf in a disc golf sense at all. I think his last upload to that channel was like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, but it could be like, hey, I'm going to take the rest of the year off, and then I'm just going to go full force.
Yeah, and that's the other hard thing is we never know. Like Brody could be hurt right now. Like nobody knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, that's valid. I am excited to see some.
And then with the just to stir the pot, with the Drew comment, no comment.
Corey knows though.
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Well done.
Of course you do.
Stay around long enough on the live stream, you may find out.
Yeah. let me just crack into this.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll find out for sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy that Kevin is still with Innova. I just looked at that real quick.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, I actually didn't. I did not really expect that, but that's pretty cool. So
I still think it's weird that it's the opposite team. Like, I think champion should be.
Yeah, that's a
like
weird.
Like when you think star, I think like more closer to like media content creator. Like, oh, you're a star, and then you're a champion. But it's the other way around. It's like, oh yeah, you're a champion over there. It's really weird.
Yep.
That wraps up the news that we have so far. Expect some shakeups in the next couple weeks that we will then talk about. Hopefully some announcements to come, but at least an interesting start to 2025 so far. Next up, I've already alluded to it. This last week's challenge was super fun, but Matt, what we got for the weekly challenge update this week?
So you guys weirded me out because I did the challenge I did the challenge like a week and a half ago. And so I'm like running behind, like I thought we were doing a totally different challenge. But the last one we did was your disc must add up to even. The turn and the fade must add up to even. Would anyone like to tell us how they felt about it? Because I have to go back to find mine of that.
I can talk about mine. This is the one I did on Monday. So I was playing with my buddy. This is I played 18 holes with these 5 discs. And then I played that 9 holes where I had that throw in. I chose the Surge SS, the Thunderbird Pipeline, the Truth, Zone OS, and my regular putting putter. Funny thing I put in the Discord is after I got done playing, I thought, oh, I could have just thrown Destroyers because it has a -1 turn and a 3 of fade. So I was like, I'm an idiot. Instead, I started going with Surge SS. But I also threw a couple really sick shots on forehand with that disc that allowed me. I got an eagle with it on 1 hole. I don't know if it was fun to throw some different stuff. I don't know if it helped me in any or made my game worse in any way, shape, or form. It was just fun.
It wasn't supposed to help you. It was supposed to challenge you.
Corey, I know. I said that first. I'm just saying I enjoyed throwing different plastic I wouldn't normally throw, but I will say the second part of it, I think is, it didn't change my game, which is totally fine.
Yeah, but it was supposed to challenge you.
It didn't challenge.
I wasn't that. I was challenged. I enjoyed throwing different plastic though, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it.
I was definitely challenged. Like I said, I filmed mine. That'll be out next Monday. I took out some stuff I don't normally throw or stuff that I'd thrown before. So I took out a Sphinx, an Anubis, what else did I take? A Myth. That was the big one. So I took a Myth. This is what I'll talk about the most. And you'll see it in the video. I normally throw tombs. I couldn't throw tombs because they did not adhere to the compliance of this challenge. I throw tombs because they're very shallow and I power grip all of my shots, whether or not it's a putter or whatever. A Myth is a beaded P2 at the end of the day, which is very different than a tomb. And I struggled a lot with that and on a short course where I had to throw putters a lot. So look forward to that. But that did not go very well for me. Spoiler alert.
What's that, Corey?
It's Tomb.
Tomb.
Oh, you got one.
Yep. I needed to. Well, one, I wanted to try it. Two, might be making a video about that.
Of course you are.
He's video.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Myth was not a fit for me. That did not go well. And the new Neon Marvels are sick.
Oh. I want to make one quick comment about the disc I threw. I felt like either I was throwing, it was fascinating because I was throwing a Truth, which is a 5502, which is actually just flies straight and then just kind of finishes at the very end of the flight. Pipeline, same exact thing. Thunderbird, kind of the exact same thing, but you can throw it on a forehand, which is why I put it in the bag. And then Surge SS is super understable, but you can manage it. Not super understable. It's understable, but you can manage it because it is a faster speed disc. And then I had a Zone OS, which was like crazy overstable. So all the stuff I had, I felt like were very, very straight. I was thinking while I was playing my round, if I was throwing odd number stuff, I wonder if it would be like more like really overstable or really understable. I was thinking about that a little bit. Like I would be throwing stuff that's like a -2-1 or like an 0-3. So it would be like really understable and really overstable. But the even numbers kept myself really straight in that selection. Anyways.
The disc I forgot was the Conqueror, which is a 12404, and
that's what I wanted to hear about.
This thing may not be that overstable. I'd only throw it a couple times. It's that overstable. Don't worry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
okay.
And unless, I mean, I may have just been super weak that day, but I threw a few forehands with it, and that thing, maybe not like super, like if you put it on angle, it'll still drift, but like this ground play that thing had was
it does have ground
like
play.
that will skip. I threw a shot that I think skipped about 80 feet after it hit the ground, like to the other side. I was like, this is wild.
I've really beat mine in, so it's kind of, it's not straight, but it's going to take a lot longer if I put it on an Anheuser to start to finish.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you have any comments?
Yeah, I'll say this. I 100% did not do the same thing Tyler did. I threw pretty stable stuff. Like I took out multiple -1-3 discs. So I threw I had the Wraith that I threw that's like not ridiculously stable, but you know,
I could have thrown a Wraith too.
Yeah, you could have thrown a Wraith. I don't know what this guy was thinking.
Man. I don't know.
I threw a Wraith. I threw.
I'll tell you what I was thinking after you're done talking.
I threw a Wraith. I threw an Uplink.
Uplink.
Uplink because that's a -3-1.
-3-1. Yeah.
Or -3 0.5 or something.
But we said round up, so you're fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I threw an Uplink. I actually don't remember what throwing. I think I took the range from MVP out because it's technically a 0-0. I think. I actually did not make a good enough note about that. But the thing I had a weirdly tough time was with my mid ranges and putters. Like I did not have any mid ranges or putters that were either 0-2 or 0-0.
Here's what I'll say. Here's my biggest takeaway: the Infinite Anubis / Innova like Mako 3, that kind of disc, so sick, so underrated. If you don't throw one of those, go throw one of those. They're so good.
That's what I was going to say, actually, was do you find yourself when you start to limit the amount of disc you have to start, what direction do you start moving towards to find disc, like stability wise?
See, I went straight. Like I went like the Anubis is 5500. Normally, I would never forehand that thing, but I threw a forehand in that video or like in that round. That is one of the best forehands I've ever thrown. It was insane.
So my thought was I don't want to add a disc to the collection I'm throwing that's overstable. I would rather throw something that is if I wanted something overstable for like a shorter approach, I would throw like a 9-speed that could go straight. So that's why I threw a Thunderbird, because I know I can throw that on a forehand with a little bit of hyzer and it could pop up and go straight. And so that's why I chose a Thunderbird. So yeah, I mean, I was just curious about, do you guys think like, okay, I want this to be understable, this to be overstable, or is it more like my thought process was I want predominantly everything to be kind of straight as much as I can?
Yeah, it's definitely the approach I took. Was just everything was relatively straight. So, but Corey, we haven't heard from you yet. What all did you take out? What all did you take out? How did it go?
So I went with a Marvel, which is an 0-2 putter. I went with what did I go with?
I'm gonna
Oh,
go
the
back.
Zone
It says
OS.
Zone OS, right?
Yep, I went with the Zone OS, which I haven't thrown since probably
Tough.
they came out. Like
It's tough.
it's tough because I think that it's gonna fly like a Zone and it doesn't.
I took a jawbreaker
so-
one, so I cheated a little bit. I took a jawbreaker one.
Either way, it's a
It's
different
still
disc.
stable, yeah.
I took out the Sector, which is technically so the weird thing with Finish Line and Infinite is I don't know if they communicate that well when it comes to flight numbers. On Finish Line, it says that it is a 550-1.5, and what we were doing is if it has a 0.5, you round up. So that was a 2. I also noticed that I have a lot of discs that have 0.5 at the end. And I didn't realize it. But the Sector is amazing. I also thought about it, and any like Buzz, Hex, all of those are -1/1. You can, yeah, those would have evened out. So
Yep.
that's cool. And then after the Sector, I went Pipeline and Predator, which the Predator I just got my hands on. It is pretty freaking beefy. But it was a lot of fun. I needed it a lot because when me and Mac went out, it was super, super windy. And we decided to go to the course that is right next to the expressway, which even on a calm day makes it friggin' Oklahoma tornadoes.
Bad day.
So, yeah. I also want to give a huge shout out to Greg Katz, Arctic Cats Disc Golf. I don't think he might not have done every single challenge so far, but he has asked about it, which is really cool.
That's cool.
Which means him and his buddies are having fun with this. So
Which is what it's all about.
Yeah, and with this
That's
one,
cool.
he actually put out a video of them playing at least 9 holes doing this challenge, which is awesome. Couldn't ask for a better follower, I guess, of our challenges. But yeah, the only thing I noticed was even numbers kind of suck compared to odd numbers. I feel like
I agree.
You have a better chance of finding what you need with odd numbers. You have to look a little harder for even.
Yeah.
And just like you said, it's either neutral or it's like overstable.
Yeah.
Like those were the two options that I was kind of dealing with.
You're either you're like a 0 or you're like a 4. So it's
yeah.
Not a lot in between for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I thought about I was thinking about maybe I bring out like an Excalibur or something like that. I just chose to not do that.
Yeah.
So, Taylor, what's our next challenge? Because this was your idea, and I like it.
So I popped in an idea for the new year here as we enter 2025, which is new year, new me. I think we had decided on 5 discs being like a good amount to kind of have a challenge with. So I think I am going to include the putter in this. So you have to go out with a new putter and try something out. But basically what I envisioned is bring out 5 discs. You pick whatever, if you want to do one distance, one control, whatever, just whatever bag you want to build for yourself. But it cannot be a disc that you spent significant time with in 2024. So if that was something you tested out once or twice, threw it in field work, that's fine. That's eligible. But if this is like a disc that when you're playing, competitive rounds, league rounds, tournament rounds, or just your typical like more than 4 or 5 casual rounds, that disc is ineligible. You can't use it. So try out some new stuff. I think that's what a lot of the heart of the weekly challenges are, to kind of stretch your collection and try some things you maybe wouldn't have tried otherwise. But I think it'll be a lot of fun to see what people cook up with that.
Are you saying 5 and a putter or 5 including a putter?
5 including a putter, I'll say.
Got it. And it's a putter that it's not our normal putter, right?
Correct. Yeah. Something that you did not spend a significant amount of time with in 2024. So something.
Gotcha. Cool.
Awesome. Well, with that, I'm actually going to go straight into our next scheduled segment. It's The Floor is Yours. I have something that I've been thinking about since Germ left Innova today, and really since Kale left Prodigy as well. But I kind of want to get some discourse and thoughts on. I'm very curious what disc golf will look like, and even give it on the long end, like 6 to 10 years, but even on the short end, 4 years, where people like me, people that have followed the game for a long time, our favorite players are going to be Masters age, that are playing a lot of Masters events. And I'm curious what you guys think about, what's that going to look like? Because I could definitely see a world where maybe not live and maybe not part of the Pro Tour, but like a well-produced, like post-produced Jomez Pro style tournament coverage of a Masters event. I would watch that, maybe even over like a live Pro Tour event, just because it's players that I've watched for a long time, that I have kind of already built that fandom of. So I'm curious like how that's going to transition as a lot of players like me that people have watched over the past 10 years kind of age into the age protected divisions.
For me, I want to see those guys play courses that they can birdie holes though. I'm not talking like pitch and putt, but like if I'm seeing these guys struggle to like get the distance to birdie holes, then it's not going to be fun to watch, in my opinion. Like I want to see birdies.
Point. Yeah, that's a big point for me as well. Where like, I don't know about you guys. For me, a lot of the current pro game is a little stale, and like here's an open 480 foot par 3 that who can throw the biggest hyzer at. Like Gannon or AB's throwing a backhand or forehand hyzer on. Where like I would like to go back to the days of let's see Kale like just shred some woods. And like, maybe that's not the best live product, but again, if that's a well-produced, like post-produced product of maybe some courses we don't typically see, or like not the longest for current Pro Tour standards, that would be fun for me to watch for sure. Like get Germ and Kale out there just full-laying some lines. I would definitely watch that.
And this is a side topic, so I'll only spend 30 seconds on it. But like when Corey used to talk about certain Mandos, I used to thought like, man, I don't really want to have that. But like if you're going to have guys have to throw a certain disc on a certain shot, like ceiling wise, you need to have like a triple Mando or something like that. So I actually wish they would do some more of that to make the creativity come back in, or having to throw certain shots with like mid ranges, or like it's a 350 foot hole, but you have to throw like a high speed fairway because the ceiling is so low. And for you to get the disc there, you have to. So anyways,
what I want to see is, we probably won't see this in like the actual tournaments, but for something like an all-star games, to have something crazy, like put a couple hula hoops like strung in the air, and you have to see how many you can get through, or something like that, and have them kind of like staggered to where it would be throwing lines in the woods, but you don't have to have the woods. You just have to have like the gaps.
Right.
Because then you could put a camera on top, on the sides. You could put a camera anywhere.
That would be a cool like all-star event, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd be willing. I mean, I think I'd be willing to watch post-produced for sure. Yeah, definitely not live. But that's a good thought, Taylor. I didn't actually think about that. I still think we have a ways till some of these guys, like Paul McBeth, are in Masters. I think there's a large gap, but I mean, Matty O's got to be getting there soon, right? He's like 37, maybe 38. He's got a couple more years, so like that age group right there, the Germs.
Yeah, but there's also that like.
Oh my gosh, if Seppo came back, I would be all in.
Like they might be the age, but there's a mentality between like competing in normal and competing in 40.
For sure.
I think you hit that wave where like, I mean, think about the guys that would play like Barsby, Matty O, Sexton, Germ. Like you hit a wave there of the older pros. Obviously, the biggest one will be Paul, right? Like, but that's a ways away when Paul hits. But I do think there's, even of that era, those older pros that are relatively popular. And I mean, even older than that will probably still be able to compete. I know Johnny was mentioned in the chat, like a Barry Schultz can still, if it's on shorter courses, can still absolutely be competitive.
Mike says, I care more about the Little Caesars challenge than Big Germ. That's funny.
That's good.
Yeah, that is funny.
If just throwing a little insight, we might have a challenge where people's got to eat pizza and play disc golf at the same time, but we'll save that for a couple months down the road.
Yeah, let it warm up.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's preheating.
Yeah.
That's a good thought, too, Taylor. I don't really have anything I wanted to bring to the table because I figured we'd be talking about the moves and all that kind of stuff. I know I'd be talking about myself for a while.
I kind of have a question that is based more on how we were just talking about wooded, like tight wooded sniper holes, what would you say is like should be recommended, or like what size gap needs to be there for it to be like not gimmicky? Because I hear like, oh, this isn't even a line, this is just woods. But there's certain times where I see a shot that's like 2, maybe 3 feet wide, and I'm like, there's the line.
My first thought was 6 feet.
6 feet? Okay.
That's based on nothing other than my first instinct, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there is that one hole, if you guys remember, that I put a picture of in our Discord long time ago of it's this one
Iron Hill?
No, it's a different one. It's called Green Ridge. It's a par 5, but it had trees lining this fairway, and it's so close together. And I'm like, this is stupid. And you were like, I want to play that so bad, because I think the best
I like the competition.
It's kind of like a dumb line. It's like a walking path, like really, really short walking.
Yeah.
Like I put my arms out and I could hit both the trees, and it's a line like that, like pretty far.
Perfect.
So it seems really, really dumb.
Like, I think I might have been the only one that was bummed out when we were at USDGC and we didn't play, what is that, hole 4?
Oh,
yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. I wanted to play it. We just looked over there. We're like, oh, we forgot about that hole. Let's not go over there.
Yeah.
I would have loved to play it.
Yeah. That one's good. I played like 3 weekends ago one that was like a 3-foot gap, and you had to throw a flex shot, and it was like 3 feet the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was like, how do you flex a disc but also keep it within 3 feet perfectly? And then I watched some guy come back after me after I threw like 4 shots at it. His buddy immediately messes it up and he just parks it for birdie. So I have no clue. Like,
I can ask a question on top of that question. What's easier to hit, a gap that is 30 feet in front of you, or a gap that's like 100 feet in front of you? So I'll give you this scenario: 30 feet in front of you, arm's length apart. Okay, we'll call it maybe 50 feet. All right, 100 feet away, and it's about a 20-foot gap. Which one's easier to hit?
Same.
Option A for me, absolutely. Closer.
I think
Hitting the closer gap.
Yeah.
For me, it's the further gap.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Here's the other question.
Because the closer one gets in my head all the time.
Even though it's closer, how far do you have to go after?
I mean, you still got to go like another, we'll call it like a par 4. Like if I'm playing at the woods at like Iron Hill, there's small gaps. So the thing about Iron Hill, the gaps are early, and if you hit it early, it's manageable. But so anyways, that it gets in my head. It's really, really difficult.
Because I feel like hitting a gap like that is cake if I'm not throwing full power. Like if I don't have to go a certain distance after.
If you're not trying to throw like 450 and also hit a gap, like
yes.
Let's say you got to hit the gap and get 300 feet of distance.
Wait, say that again.
You have to hit the short gap in front of you and get 300 feet of distance. Like that's the goal.
Yeah, I'm chilling with that for sure.
For some reason, 300 is that perfect window of like I can make it to 300 and still be accurate with what I'm hitting. Because that's either throwing a mid hard, which for some reason throwing a mid is different than throwing like a driver.
Agreed.
I can aim a mid. Well, I'm saying I can aim a mid in the hand. It feels different. Like I can aim a mid and still get it that distance, or it would be softing a fairway.
Like for me, I have a much better time hitting a gap off the tee than holes that are like you start out in the open and then back in the woods and have to hit a gap to go in. Like I'm terrible at that, but I can
see. I'm all about that.
I'm in the same boat as Tyler. I'm all about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm all about disc golf, man.
Same.
That's why we're here, dude. That's why we're here.
Actually, I am playing some golf tomorrow, though.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah,
but I'm all about disc golf, man.
All about it. All about it.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, just because I was there was a gap out in the distance on the longer tee pad that we don't normally play at this course, and they're like, man, that's a tough gap. I'm like, no, it's not. And they're like, okay, I want to see you hit it, and I hit it like perfect. And they're like, how did you do that? And then I struggled with a shot earlier in the round where I smacked a tree that was like 50 feet off the tee pad, and they're like, "How did you hit that tree?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's in my head. Like the shorter gaps are hard for me."
If the tree is closer to you, you have a higher tendency of focusing on the tree, and then you hit the tree.
That's
you know
like,
what I mean?
there's a law about that. Yeah.
Like if it's 150, maybe 200 feet away, you can stare at that tree and aim for it, and you're still probably not hitting it.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason why at Iron Hill, like forehand players are usually the people that play the best there, is because the gaps are early. You can hit gaps easier with the forehand, in my opinion. So
yeah,
tough.
Hey, we got a new Discord person.
Welcome to
join the Discord.
Thanks for joining the Discord.
You done messed up, Ron. That's awesome. Okay, so segmenting off of the size of gaps and stuff, we always talk about making the basket different sizes.
No.
Don't do
it. Don't do it.
Talk about it.
Don't do it.
Well, what am I doing?
I'm saying I don't want to change the size.
Of what?
Same.
The basket.
The skit.
Like what part of it?
Any of it.
I
Leave
think
the basket alone, Brittany.
I think we should shrink the height of the window.
Here's my 2 cents. 1 cent, number one.
I mean, maybe. I might be down for that.
I'm just thinking like a basket is like there's so much space this way.
Well, that looks really bad example you doing it right there because of the depth perception. Yeah, I was gonna say the depth perception right there is not good.
The disc is coming in like this, so it's like at most 2 inches of like space that you need to go through. I think that's one reason. It looks cooler when you do a can jam than when you make a putt in a basket. Because a can jam, everyone knows that slot is only this big. So if you make it in there, holy crap.
Yeah.
If you hit that, like, look at how many crazy ace. Yeah, look how many crazy ace shots that we saw, like, especially lately with like another round and all that. It's too easy. We need to at least shrink this, like, this section. What?
If it's so easy, why can't we?
Here's my 2 cents. Cent number one. I don't think disc golf's in a position where we need to redefine our target because we have so many courses already. Let it live. Keep on going. Number two, for me, watching success is more fun than watching failure. I would rather the sport be more exciting and have more throw-ins and more aces and more long putts. That's why I don't think we should change the circle, because it's fun to make putts and it's less fun to watch people miss putts.
Now, I will say I like moving the circle back and making people not being able to jump putt from 34 feet or step putt. I step putted from like 35 feet twice yesterday, and I thought I was cheating. And the other guys were like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, bro, it's the rules. So maybe make it like,
I personally don't jump or step putt.
Maybe.
Because that's just how I like to putt, is just stand still.
I used to.
And
then I practiced step putting. I'm like, bro, this is a cheat code.
You make a step putt from 34 feet, and you're like, this should not be legal.
Exactly.
I might be in a weird boat, too, that I really want them to, like, if you're off of the tee, you should have to stand still.
Yeah.
Like, from anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I think that is a cheat code as well. You're in the middle of the fairway, and you have a 10-foot run-up before you chuck this thing again.
I think I've said this on here before. When I first got into disc golf, I thought if you were in the rough, you couldn't run up. So
that's how it should be. That's how I think anywhere.
That's what I think. But then you have to define the rough. Like that's the other thing.
Well, no. I'm saying anything off of the tee pad, you should have to do a standstill.
Max says it's too easy to putt. Get out of here, bro.
That would be the equivalent. Like doing a run up would be the equivalent of using a tee.
Yes.
You're not allowed to use the tee anywhere off of
the
point,
tee box. Good point.
You shouldn't be able to run up after the tee pad. That's why it's cemented.
I don't like the solution. I hear this
I don't
a lot.
care.
Max says, no, that's whatever. I would have less fun playing disc golf if that was the rules. I would be fine. Max mentioning, like, I hear this a lot of put the new basket on the Pro Tour and just let them travel with full baskets. I don't like that solution because I'm a person that I feel like there's a demographic of people like me that will watch the Pro Tour, and then when I go play at my local course and it's not the same, I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I get that.
That's
But also, doesn't like basketball, like the NBA uses like a different size rim or something like that? No?
It's the distance for a 3-pointer is a little further
Yeah,
back from
change.
college
Okay.
to pros. That's
Yeah,
the
okay.
only like difference in like basketball that can happen.
I thought there was something about the rim too. No,
I don't
is the
think
rim
so.
height? Is it the height?
Height 10 feet.
Oh.
Stay the same.
Okay,
Mhm.
I don't know then. I don't play basketball.
Me neither, man.
You guys let us know in the comments / in the Discord, wherever you want to, what you think about basketball. Who do you think's winning the championship this year, the finals? With that, great discussion. I've got a game cooked up. I think it's a short one, but a good one. Speaking of sponsorship movement, people leaving, I have compared 3 what I thought were the more shocking moves of recent years in disc golf. The year before they moved and the year after they moved. Their tournament performance. Have those written down. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do you think this player performed better the year before after they move sponsors? And then we'll compare. We'll see what the stats actually say. So player number 1 I have, obviously, Paul McBeth leaving Innova in 2018, his last year with them, and then 2019, his first year with Discraft. Matt, do you think that Paul McBeth performed better or worse, or which year do you think he performed better? The last year in the Innova contract or the first year of the Discraft contract?
How are we defining better?
I'll give
missed
you all
that.
the stats. 2 of these I think are pretty not debatable, and one of them is debatable, and we'll go into that.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
I'm confused. What are we doing?
Yeah, are you giving me the stats now, or you want me to just raw tell
Oh,
you?
no. I'm asking you to raw tell me, did Paul McBeth play better his last year with Innova in 2018 or his first year with Discraft in 2019?
Yeah, Matt, raw dog it.
I think last year with Innova. It's the only way I do it. So I think last year with Innova.
All right, Corey?
I'm gonna say last year with Innova because I remember. I remember hearing the 18 season more than the 19 season.
I have no data to back mine up, in my head. So
Am I putting one out there?
Yes. Send it.
Discraft.
All right, we got 2 Innovas, 1 Discraft. So we'll compare here. In 2018 with Innova, Paul McBeth played in 24 events. He had 9 wins, 17 podiums, and 20 top 10s, and made around $55,000. No super notable wins that I noticed from there. I could be wrong on that. But in 2019, Paul played 22 events, a little bit less, 13 wins, 18 podiums, and 21 top 10s. Most importantly, he did have the Worlds win in 2019 and $57,000 in earnings. So at least I would say that 2019 was a better season for Paul.
The only thing I remember from that situation is that everyone was saying he won Worlds his first year with Discraft. That was a big deal. I remember that. Come on, Corey, you should know that.
Scraft guy, Scraft country. Next up, I've got the 21 to 22 movement of Richard Wysocki leaving his Innova contract early, going back to DD. So we'll go reverse order this time. Tyler, do you think Ricky played better overall in 2021 with Innova or 2022 with DD?
Innova.
All right. Corey?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Innova.
Matthew Marsh?
for the sake of being different, I'll say dynamic. I don't
If
think
it's
true.
dynamic, I'm gonna kill someone.
Listen, I don't think it's true, but I feel like for this, it would be best if there was different answers.
There's no
I
way.
think there could be a debate here. I had a thought going in, but we'll read over it and talk about it. So in 2021 with Innova, Ricky played 25 events, 6 wins, 14 podiums, and 23 top 10s with $80,000 in earnings. 2022, this was the Lyme disease year, if you don't remember, with the flare-up. So he did miss some events. He only played 19 in 2022. 5 wins, so 1 less than the previous year. 9 podiums, a drop, and 14 top 10s, a drop from the previous year. But he did increase his earnings by quite a bit. $80K in 2021 and $105,000 in 2022. This is including a Pro Tour championship win that
Oh, well,
bolster
there you
his
go.
earnings. So
30K.
in my mind, I had the 2022 season as a slightly better season based purely on that Pro Tour Championship and not a huge drop off in wins, but his overall performance did decrease. But open to discussion on that one.
I would say check Statmando for average finish.
I would say 21 because he was disease free.
It's all about healthy living here.
Clap
Yeah.
free.
Let's pull up.
If he could go back.
I always struggle to get him pulled up because he is Richard Wysocki on Statmando.
Richard.
So in
I thought it was
2020,
Ronaldo.
Listen, I won't be mad either way, but
in 2021, an average finish of 4.2, and in 2022, an average finish of 8.2. So I think a little worse overall in 2022, but again, just for me, I had given the nod to 2022 with the Pro Tour Championship win.
I guess this is the Missy Gannon. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
is it more important to just go for the big money
yes.
or to have like the better record?
Stack the A tiers. All right, what's the next one, Tay?
Last up, and this is the most debatable, so I'm very curious to see.
Even
where
more
this
debatable
goes.
than that one. Wow.
Absolutely. So this is Simon Lizotte leaving Discmania and going to
I knew
MVP
it.
between 2022 and 2023. We'll go in the original order. Matt, when do you think he played better? 2022 with Discmania or 2023 with MVP?
I think 2023, technically, but I don't know about that. My stats are
All
not
right.
great. 2023, I'll say.
Corey Kramer.
I'm kind of confused on how this is debatable, but I'll wait for my turn.
I'm gonna say Discmania.
I'm going Discmania for sure. He had like 5 wins.
All right, so here's the stats.
moving track.
2022 with Discmania, he played 17 events. He had 4 wins, 6
wins.
podiums, and 9 top 10s. He made $64.4 thousand. In 2023, he had 18
made
events.
$10 million.
Purely from event winnings. In 2023, he played 18 events with 4 wins, again, 6 podiums, and 9 top 10s. So just the same across the board. Here's a caveat, asterisk. I went back and looked. 2 of the wins in 2023 were at B tiers in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So
So he only went on tour twice that year
23. Yeah.
with Discmania.
No, with MVP.
No, that's
4
with
on
MVP.
tour with Discmania.
I was gonna say he won more on tour at Discmania. I was gonna say when I heard the amount of wins, I was like, he only won like twice. I think it was like Music City.
Yeah,
and
so
like
I had to go
Iowa.
back. I was the same. I was like, I don't feel like that's right. So I looked back. I was like, oh, 2 of those wins were at.
Was that the
at B
D-Glow year?
tiers.
Yeah, that's 20. That's with MVP.
Yeah.
No,
With
I know.
Yeah,
it
that
was-
was-
Yeah, because
yeah,
he had
it
a
was-
wave. He had a
yeah.
wave with the trees that were like parted.
yeah.
and
So
he was,
in 22 he won OTB, Portland, Des Moines, and MVP Open. So I think Des Moines was technically a silver or whatever they called it then. In 2023 it was Music City Open and D-Glow, and then the Clement Classic and the 3rd annual Jeffrey Cranston Open.
Well, if he won the Cranston Open, then that's
got him.
how is there a debate?
What was the money difference, Taylor? I'm just curious.
About 5K. So 64 and a half in 22 and 60, almost 61 in 23.
How is
That-
that possible?
That Audi he's driving around makes it seem different.
Yeah. Hey, you get
How is
$1
that
million real
possible?
quick from your sponsor.
His wife-
You can win 2 tours and 2 B tiers and only lose $5,000.
Yeah, it's curious. I wonder if just the purse difference in the wins too. Like I know Music City
okay.
Open is not like the highest paying event as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
weird.
there's probably a million little factors. I feel like it's still 2022 to 2023. We were upping price, like
yeah,
some of the
sure.
prize pool stuff too. So a little bit of that, a little bit of this. But yeah,
That's a question.
That is a good question.
Aaron
we
asks,
think-
would we like to
Good
know where
question,
these,
Aaron.
where would like to know where these players finish respectively in tour standings by each year? Wanted to add that in there for
is an absolutely impeccable question. that I do not have.
Why are
data
we
for
so dumb?
currently. That is a good question, though.
No, I'm just kidding. That's a good way to think about it. Retrospectively,
I will say too,
competition.
since just things that Statmando has available. 2022 average rating of 1058 for Simon. 2023 1059. So also essentially the same.
I would love to know who had the best jump from going from sponsor to sponsor.
Yeah, that was my original question when I started pulling into this,
Gannon.
but then it'd be fun.
It's Gannon.
Yeah, it's Gannon by far. Actually, you're totally
I
right.
just thought about that. Yeah, it's Gannon.
I would love to know Big Germ's record
it, Aaron.
last year.
Big
Germs.
actually love to know that because I can look that up.
His record?
Yeah, yeah.
Can we have like a
Like, what's
last
his?
second
what-
soapbox moment too?
Yeah.
Oh my
Always.
goodness.
What is?
What did he
2024,
place?
Big Germ played 27 events. He had.
Did he get one top 10?
He had. Well, let's look at just Pro Tour events actually. 'Cause
Just
I know Germs out there, German. So for Pro Tours and Majors, Germ played 20 events with a best finish of 5th. What was that at? Music City Open.
Music City Open?
Yeah, he did play well there. Average finish of 52nd and made $7,400.
7,400.
Jeez, dude.
What does he survive on? Because he doesn't even have like a signature series.
High choose.
Thunderbirds
Yeah, probably.
and Bosses. And
Thunderbirds and Bosses.
AVRX.
Really though, the bosses got hot, but
I've heard
Got
people
that, you got that
geek for his
Gomez
Thunderbird.
money. Yeah,
Gomez.
I think his Thunderbirds are very popular.
Yeah, I think I've seen some
I've-
decent pricing
I've-
on some of those
I've
Thunderbirds.
thrown the Halo one. It's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, but don't have one.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jomez, I love seeing Bearheart staring at the camera every single time Jeremy is talking.
What's your soapbox here, Tyler?
I'm not gonna go hard in the paint. I'm definitely just gonna like play a little soft, but I get a little annoyed about the long, lengthy Instagram posts about leaving companies.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah,
I think it's really
I don't
mellow.
care.
It's
I love
really
it.
mellow. It's really melodramatic. Taylor, I know you love it, which is why. No, you love it. I know you do. I just find it to be a little melodramatic. Like, I don't know. Listen, I get it. It's disc golf. There's this whole family vibe to it, and I don't care for it, man. I don't know. I just have a couple other friends that we make fun of players for doing certain things. I'm not going to say it on here because I just don't want to, be negative Nancy. I don't want to be negative Nancy about it, but yeah, I wasn't going to really bring this up on here, but like Eric Oakley's like emotional post, it was emotional, and I'm not going to make fun of a guy for like getting emotional, but it just seemed like, I don't know. It feels weird watching a grown man cry on a social media post. And
Yes, but what I was going to say is I would rather watch Eric Oakley cry than have to try and read anyone's post.
I probably will be with there. I'll
I
be
am
with
not
you.
reading 4 paragraphs that you decided and probably took all of the time in the world to like perfectly manicure.
Not even like just your post, but also go to the comments so you can read more of what I wrote.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about Jeremy Colling. I'm just gonna say because we all know what I'm talking about. Like that's just it's just much, man.
Yeah, I mean, Hammer, I sent that to us at Instagram. I was like, shout out Chandler Kramer for saying I'm about to spill all the beans and not sugarcoat anything, and put together a very poorly typed paragraph that explained absolutely nothing. Huge shout out.
That was a stinker of stinkers.
I gotta get better cousins.
None of us can read.
Yeah, Aaron says just need Isaac to listen to this right now and then use the peace emoji. I don't know. He's fine. I mean, he wasn't that long, but I mean, I'm talking like I've seen some guys write some really. As Corey said, I don't care. Just say, hey guys, I'm leaving. Great, appreciate you. I'm out.
I think one of my favorite things to say is like I can't read, just as a joke. And I actually said that to Marcus, the team manager of Finish Line. He sent me my contract, and I said, "Oh, I can't read." And then he took the entire contract and texted it to me because he thought I meant like I couldn't read the document. And I was like, oh no, that was just a bad joke. I'll sign it right now.
Little text to speech for Corey real quick.
You know what? The funniest part about that is I don't know how many like low level pros you guys follow, but the low level pros will echo those same.
Matt
Yeah.
Matt had a moment where he sent us a video on Instagram of this guy creating this really hard video of him going to Discraft.
And I'm like, dude, chill out.
Underground, baby.
Someone gave you like 20 or 30 discs to start the season, and bro is going all out for this. I'm like, chill.
20 or 30 discs, bro. I got 2.
Yeah, we ain't like that. That's why if we were like that, we could make posts like that guy made.
It's underground.
I thought Isaac's post was fine. It wasn't too long. I think it was like 2 paragraphs.
At the end of the day, I honestly don't like reading them either, but it's content. They're obligated to make content. It is what it is. I do agree though, Tyler, with I don't know, something about Eric Oakley crying on live on Instagram was just like, and I love Eric.
And I do too. I'm not gonna lie,
bro.
With a shaved head.
I was like, he is about to announce something really, really bad.
Yeah, no,
That's what I thought was happening.
I love Eric and all, but like Tyler said that, I'm like, oh, what,
content.
mid disc golfer sad that he's mid at disc golf? Like, what else is it?
Yeah,
like,
I'm glad you said it. I didn't want to, because that's exactly what I think. It's just, exactly.
I think the sad thing for Eric is I really like that he has such a goofy style when it comes to throwing, and I want him to be good.
Yeah, I agree.
So that like almost like the Bubba Watson of disc golf.
Like, you can't tell me when you see him go into like the top 5, you get a little excited inside.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, not all the time, but
yeah,
it'd be different if it was all the time.
Yeah, it's just seemed like it was just weird. I didn't care for it, but.
Well, look, go check out your favorite pros Instagram posts while you're there. Follow Unfinished Business, and also click the link in our bio and check out our merch. We got some merch that you can buy. We've got an affiliate link with Foundation, and we're here live usually every week in the off season, every other week, and in Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're gonna wrap up here to keep the more harsh comments to the live stream and not the recording we push out to everyone. So if you really want to hear those and find out again from Corey what Drew's talking about, what Drew's yapping about the disc golf world shaking up, he's gonna spill the beans right after this, I swear. He is.
No.
Thank you guys a ton for watching. We'll be back here in a couple weeks and still yapping live on YouTube. So come join.
I'm not doing that.